Oh, hi there. I'm Simon Rafe and welcome to Brown Bag Bible Study, the Bible study that you can do in your lunch break. Now, this is an introduction to Scripture. It's going to give you some information that you might not have known. It's going to encourage you to read the Bible. But most importantly, it's presented in bite-sized pieces, perfect to fit in with today's busy lifestyles. Every week, I will be concentrating on a small part of Scripture, either one of the 73 books of the Bible or a group of related books, and I'll bring you interesting facts and information to help you understand it. I'll also be including links to further reading, articles, books, podcasts, all that kind of stuff. These are going to help you learn to love sacred Scripture even more. This week, the book of the prophet Haggai. As mentioned last week, Haggai is the first of the post-exilic prophets. The other two are Zechariah, who is contemporary with Haggai, and Malachi, who lived about 100 years later. A brief historical note is necessary to understand the post-exilic prophets. This period of Jewish history is covered in the historical books, specifically the books of Chronicles. The Jews suffered military defeats during the 6th and 7th century BC, culminating in the siege and sack of Jerusalem in 587 BC. The Jews were taken captive and they were hauled off to Babylon, where they were a people in exile. This suffering was foretold by the prophets, but so was a return and restoration of the Davidic kingdom and the nation-state of Israel. In 538 BC, roughly 50 years after the deportation, the Persians conquered Babylon, and Cyrus the Great gave a decree that the Jews should return to Jerusalem and begin rebuilding the temple, which had been destroyed during the Great Sieges. Around 520 BC, the Jews began to return, and under the king Zerubbabel and the priest Joshua, the foundations for the Second Temple were laid. This period marked the beginning of a great restoration of the Jewish people and was seen by many of them as the promised return to prominence and power the prophets had spoken of. Messianic prophecies did not seem so far-fetched now. Remember, the Jews were often a small, insignificant people in terms of geopolitical power, but they earnestly believed a great warlord and king would come from their line and rule the whole world. This period of independence ended when the Persian Empire was conquered by Alexander. Around 110 BC, the Maccabean Rebellion established another independent Jewish kingdom, which was conquered by the Romans in 63 BC. This, of course, set the stage for the Greek-speaking, Hellenic-influenced, Roman-ruled province of Judea with the glorious Second Temple, into which Jesus was born. But to return to the immediate post-exilic period and the restoration of Israel. In the sieges, the temple had been destroyed. It's really very difficult for us to understand just how significant the temple was to Jewish worship. Pre-rabbinical Judaism was not a religion where worship could be offered anywhere. It could only be performed by sacrifices performed by the priests in the temple. The temple had to be on a specific place, the Temple Mount, and as was suitable for the worship of the Most High God, it had to be beautiful. The specific details given to Solomon for the construction of the first temple were exacting and precise. It was impossible for the Jews to offer pure worship without the temple. The temple was the center of religious life for the Jews, and this is why, of course, Christ's words about destroying and rebuilding the temple, and that his statement, a time would come when there would be no temple worship, was so shocking. When the Second Temple was destroyed in 70 AD by Titus and the 10th Legion, this was a shattering blow to the Jews. And so this is why Haggai gives such emphasis to rebuilding the temple. The Jews have suffered much at the hands of oppressors because of their unfaithfulness, but now God urges them to rebuild the temple, despite their reluctance, and to offer pure worship. He promises to bless them, painting a glorious picture of the future. There is little in Haggai which is specifically messianic. The promises of power and glory can be read as simply geopolitical success, and this is how the Jews historically have interpreted them. That there will be a glorious restoration of Israel in secular power and might under the Messiah. This is one of the reasons for the rejection of Christ as Messiah, whose kingdom is not of this world, and whose fulfillment of the messianic prophecies is quite different to how many Jews felt they should be fulfilled. So read Haggai. Because of its focus on urging for a purity of worship and a temple for the Jews, it may be difficult to find a foothold in understanding. It may be profitable to spend your time with additional materials, grounding yourself in the history of the Jewish people surrounding the deportation, exile, and return. Next week, we'll look at the second of the post-exilic prophets, Zechariah. Until then, I'm Simon Rafe, and God bless. To learn more about the place of Scripture in the lives of Catholic Christians, I urge you to read Pope Benedict's apostolic exhortation Verbum Domini. The Pope encourages all Catholics to read, learn and love Scripture and to understand its relation to the Church. A link to this exhortation is included in the reading materials for every episode of Brown Bag Bible Study. Just click the link over there.